Hello, my friends. Welcome to your Facebook account, I guess. Welcome to Friday. That's what I'm talking about. Yeah, it's been a wild week. I'm happy to be back with you guys. I didn't do one of these videos last week because I went to the beach with my family, which, yay me. Man, I went years and never took a vacation. And finally, having kids and stuff, I was like, I gotta do this. I gotta start. You gotta make time for yourself. You know what I mean? And so anyway, I was off last week. I hope that's okay with you guys. If it's not, then I'm sorry, I guess. Anyway, anyway, yeah, guys, I've really been enjoying doing those question and answer videos with you guys. If you have questions for me in the future, just stick them in the comments, and we're collecting them. And I'm gonna go ahead and try to take them in the future. Before I do the question for today, because I got a good question for today, I just want to say something kind of off the cuff here. Yesterday was hard day for me in the clinic, and it was one of those days when I was doing my best, and every client had financial concerns or other things that were going on. And at the end of the day, I turned to my friend, who's another veterinarian, Jennifer McDavid, who's amazing. I love her. She's wonderful. And I said, do you ever have days when you just feel like a shitty vet? Because that's how I feel today. And she's like, oh my God, yeah. And I was like, all day long, I was just making stuff work and doing the backwoods version of medicine, because that's what we could do. It was either do it backwoods and get it done, or do nothing. And I just felt like all day my techs looked at me like, is this what you want to do? And I'm like, no, this is not what I want to do. But this is what we got to do. Because it's what we can do. This is how we're going to take care of this pet, because it's not beautiful. It's not perfect. Yes, I would send them to a specialist if I could. Yes, I would hospitalize them for 3 days if I could. That's not in the cards. We got to make it work. And so all day long I did that. And at the end of the day, I felt crappy, just so you know. And why did I tell you that? I tell you that because I know I'm not alone. I know there's a lot of you out there who are like, you read your clinical journals and you know what the gold standard of care is, and you want to do the gold standard of care, and then you end up just with a streak of people who can't afford the gold standard of care, and you're doing the silver or the bronze standard of care because it's what's possible to do, and you're doing your absolute best. And still, it's easy to beat yourself up when you go, that's not the way I wanted to do that. Guys, that's life, and that's reality. So anyway, if you're one of those vets out there, if you ever get to the end of the day and go, God, I feel like a shitty vet because I did not get to do medicine the way that I wanted today, you're not alone. It's part of the job. It just is. I think we all end up feeling that way, but I was feeling that way yesterday. And so know that we all at some point go, God, this is not how I wanted to work this case up, but here we are, and this is the best thing that we can do, and we're just going to go with it and roll. So anyway, just start off with that. I think it's a good reminder. I'm sure I'm not the only person who has days like that. Let me know in the comments that I'm not the only person who has days like that, please. I would love to hear that. That will make me feel better. All right, let me take this question, because it's a good question. I got it from, I think the last time we did one of these videos. I find that ProSal, or some version, ProSal is like when doctors get paid based on the cases that they do and the diagnostics they do and things like that, is one of the most common compensation practices in our profession. I find more experienced vets unwilling to mentor younger vets because of the pressure they feel to produce and the fear that time spent mentoring takes away from their time spent producing. I've heard of mentors receiving their mentees' production bonuses during mentorship. What do you think? Should mentors be awarded extra compensation since their production may be affected? All right, so I hear this stuff sometimes. So basically what she's saying is, or what I'm being asked is, if doctors get paid for the appointments they see, they're not incentivized to help younger vets and to mentor and to coach and to teach, right? And what do we do about that? Is that okay? All right, so I got a couple thoughts on this. One of them is, I think that if you're a vet and you are paid on ProSal, you're paid on production, and so first of all, let me just validate the scenery and say, yeah, that's true. If you only get paid, if your entire compensation is based on you seeing appointments, and you're busy and your practice is slammed, you taking time to explain things, it slows you down, and that's just true. And so I think we just need to own that and not act like that's not true, because it is. I think that taking the view that hustling into these rooms and not teaching and not mentoring, I think that that's a short-term view. I really do. There's a joke that I like where there's this veterinarian talking to the practice manager, and the vet says, "What if we train these people and then they leave?" And the manager goes, "What if we don't train them and they stay?" And I love that. I think that that's such a realistic scenario. I want to work with good people. I want to work with people who are confident and comfortable. And I got to make that happen, guys. I got to take some responsibility for the clinic that I work in, right? I want to work with good, confident, competent, fast technicians. I want to work with smart doctors who can look at me on days like yesterday and go, "Are you sure you want to do that?" And I go, "No." And they go, "Oh, well, what are our other options?" And we can work on it together. Those are the people I want to work with. I have some responsibility in making that the reality of my situation, right? I can't just hope it happens. Like I gotta get involved. Like I have some ownership here, right? And so I don't mean literal ownership. I mean ownership of the culture that I'm in and the people that I work with. And so I'm going to mentor them because that's a good long-term view. That's the type of place that I want to work, right? The other part is the golden rule. Just do unto others as you would have them do unto you. It's like, man, if I was that young vet, I would want somebody to give a crap about me. I'd want somebody to look out for me and help me out, right? Like that's, guys, that's what matters in this life. And so, the golden rule, do unto others as you would have them do unto you. Is like, man, I remember being that young vet. And like, I don't want to forget that, right? I want to, I don't know. I want to have that empathy. If you want to be more, sort of self-centered about it, and not in a bad way, but if you want to be more self-centered about it, there's a fable that I like. It's this old sort of parable, and it's the story of the lion and the field mouse, right? And so the story goes like this. So one day there's this lion, and a big, powerful lion, and he's catching mice, and he's just kind of screwed. It's really easy to do because he's so fast and so big and so strong, and he catches this little mouse, and the mouse says to him, "Please, please don't eat me. One day I will make this up to you. One day I will pay you back for letting me go." And the lion says, "How in the world would you ever pay me back?" And the mouse says, "I don't know, but I promise that I will." And so the lion decides to let him go. A year or two later, the lion's captured by hunters, wrapped up and bound up in a net, and he's about to be taken away. And as the hunters are gathering their things at camp to leave, the mouse emerges and chews through the net and frees the lion to escape. And that's the story of the lion and the field mouse. And the moral of the story is, you don't know when people are going to come back and help you, right? You don't know when things are going to come around in this world. And just because you have all the experience now, and you're the fast doctor now, and you're the knowledgeable doctor now, doesn't mean that that young veterinarian one day is not going to save your bacon or not. It doesn't mean that one day they're not going to be the best friend you ever had or the best colleague you ever had. And so, yeah, they might not be able to offer you much now. That's a short-term view, guys. It's about building the culture that you want to have and investing in the people. Culture's got to come from the top. That's another thing. If you're a manager, if you're a leader, and you want people to give of themselves and look out for each other and support each other, it's got to start with you, right? Like, you've got to look out for people and support people, right? You've got to be one who jumps in and teaches and mentors and who tries to grease the wheels and things like that, and just create that culture. But there's no culture where the technicians give of themselves freely and the doctors act like jerks. That's not going to happen. And there's no practice where the doctors are, looking out for each other, but the practice owner's disengaged and doesn't care. It's not going to happen. It really does come down from the top. What does leadership do? And so having that culture of teaching and mentorship and compassion for each other and empathy, it comes from leadership too. So I just want to put that down as something that's important in making this happen. Last thing I want to do is talk about ProSal and some of the problems with ProSal. And if you really care about this a lot, I have a Cone of Shame episode on doctor production that you can find. So check out podcasts, Cone of Shame, and then there's veterinarian pay. And I talk with Dr. Lance Rosa about this. And so we can talk a lot about ProSal and stuff, but as beyond what we're doing here. The big thing I'm going to say with ProSal is it's fine. It's very common. That's how a lot of doctors are compensated. When you get into trouble with ProSal, right, is this. ProSal is supposed to be a bonus system to protect doctors from working all the time, which it's supposed to be a thing where you have a base salary, and if you end up working your butt off, you'll get a bonus. And as long as people think of it that way, it tends to be great. The problem comes when we change our mindset and we think of ourselves as straight production, and this is how I get paid and I have to get production. That's a toxic shift in mindset. It's really easy to make, but once doctors start to think about like, I need to make production, that's bad, and that pushes people towards gamesmanship and trying to figure out like, like what's going to make the most money for me. That's not the mindset we want people to have. And so that's one of the problems with ProSal is once people they shift away from ProSal is an opportunity for me to make bonuses based on my work to I get paid on commission, basically. I don't like that mindset shift. And so everybody should just be careful when you're talking about ProSal and how you think about ProSal. It's not production. It's not commission. It is the potential to make a bonus. And I just think that that's a healthier way to think about it. The other downside with ProSal that I want to say is if people are paid on production, the problem is the nicest people in your practice get screwed, right? The kindest doctors get screwed over. And what I mean when I say that is, if you're trying to mentor a new veterinarian, a new graduate, the doctors who are nice and kind will take time and mentor that person. And the doctors who are just focused on making money are just going to make money and they're not going to be involved. And so what you really happen is you've saddled the people who care with the responsibility of mentoring and training, and other people are just, earning income for themselves. And we see this all the time in income inequality, the people who focus just on money and they leave the other unpaid work to be done by other people. And the kindest people are the ones who pick that work up because it has to get done by somebody. And I'm not slamming this system of production. It's very common. It's not all bad. It's just that can be a real pitfall. And so in this question, they say, what do we do? Do we compensate people for mentorship and things like that? Well, ideally, what I'd like to do is just talk to the doctors as a group and the more senior doctors and say, hey, please help me mentor this person. Remember how it was when you were a young graduate, and please help this person be acclimated and take care of them, and help them do well. And here's kind of what we're trying to do with him or her. And can you guys help me with that? And hopefully the doctors will be good people, because vets tend to be good people. They just forget. They just zone out, right? We're all a little bit self-interested. That's just how it is. And so usually a nice reminder of, hey, remember when it was you? That can go a long way, and that's probably all that we need. If it doesn't, we might have to figure out how to make it fair for the person to invest and mentor in this vet. So yeah, I mean, mentorship and training are important, and so maybe we're going to have to figure out how to compensate a doctor to do it so we make sure it gets done, because it's really important. And so that's the worst case scenario, right? The worst case is we've paid everybody on ProSal. They're really worried about their production. I would say, we need to figure out what this looks like. And the doctors who step up and do things that are good for the practice that doesn't get them production, or that's contrary to their financial interests, you better remember that, and you should appreciate those people, and you should reward those people. And those people should get opportunities, and they should get leadership opportunities, and they should get compensated for that time, right? And again, it's all about figuring out how to do it, but just think about what's fair and what's good. The golden rule, right? Like, let's take care of the people who take care of our practice. So anyway, guys, I hope that that's something useful in there for you. That's kind of what I think about as far as mentoring people and looking out for each other in the practice. So anyway, I see Whitney saying that that ProSal has become toxic at her practice. It definitely can. Another knock I'll give you real quick on ProSal is it disincentivizes people taking time off. So I said at the beginning, I didn't do a video last week because I went to the beach. If I was all about production, I would say, and I didn't take vacation for years, and that was part of it. It was like I knew I could make money for my family if I stayed in the practice, and so I worked and 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 I worked. And years went by until I finally said, I can't do this. So anyway, those are just things to think about. Right? I said there's no perfect system for employing people. ProSal definitely has its perks. If you're using ProSal in your practice, just keep an eye on those things and think about it. How do I encourage the doctors to actually take time off? How do I encourage them to mentor each other and to be engaged? And part of it is just saying, I'm just not going to allow you as a doctor to go off and only focus on production in the exam room and crap on our team culture and not participate, not be part of our team. I'm just not going to allow it. I think that's a good thing. I think it's a good approach. But, it takes, again, it's got to come from the top. All right, team. I'm loving these comments. Thanks, guys. Mentorship is valuable in the clinic, not just for the mentee. Lauren Smith, Dr. Lauren Smith. Guys, if you don't follow Dr. Lauren Smith, she is the Vetitude on Instagram, and I have known her for years, and she is wonderful. And so check her. Let me give her a shout out to her Instagram. She's really fantastic. Melanie Kramer. Everybody needs a beach week, and they do. All right, guys. I've taken enough of your time on Friday. Have a wonderful weekend. Oh, real quick, fun stuff, just in case you're interested. The card game is called What's on My Scrubs, and it came out on Wednesday, and they're flying off the shelves. I thought we had way too many of them, and now I'm like, we did not order enough. They are flying off the shelves. If you want a fun card game to play with your whole team, it's made for the vet team. Head over to drandyroark.com. Check out our store. I've got a online training about dealing with angry clients, which is really popular and really good. I put a lot of time into it. And then the card game is there as well. Go get a copy of card game. Have fun with your team. You guys, yeah, Amber, ordering it now. That's what I wanted to hear. Awesome. Cool. You guys take care, all right? Have a wonderful Friday. I'll see you later. Bye.